Chelsea Fan TV are being sponsored by Circle, and Circle is the brand new sweepstakes game where the winner is decided by what happens live on the pitch as it happens. Check out the link in the bio down below. Use the referral code ChelseaFanTV to play along with us. But as always, you do have to be 18 plus to be involved in these. And yeah, we'll see you there.
Yes, people, what's happening? Welcome back to Chelsea Fan TV and welcome to the first episode of the new year of the Chelsea Fan TV podcast. Before we get into the episode, please make sure you smash the likes on the video, subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV if you haven't done so already, and leave your thoughts in the comments below, whether you agree or disagree with anything myself or Lewis have said during this episode. Lewis, let's get straight into it, mate. Obviously, we were both up at Forest on Sunday. Wasn't the best start to the new year for Chelsea. We didn't lose, which is probably the only plus, but the performance was dreadful, particularly that second half. No shots, no touches in the opposition box either to sum things up. But now we've had a sort of a day or so to sort of, move on from it. Have your thoughts changed at all from after the game?
I mean, we just suck, don't we? It's as simple as that. That's why this is why I keep saying everyone says that I'm just too overly negative and everything. I know we couldn't even spell consistency, let alone actually be consistent. We went from a game against Bournemouth to a team in even worse form in Nottingham Forest, and we played worse. And even then, no, I'll take that back because we didn't play worse. We played the same way we did against Bournemouth. Play well for 30 minutes and completely evaporate after that. The only difference is they never made us pay for it. Forest, they did. Forest, we're lucky to even come out of that with a draw. That should have been a loss. Should have been 2-1, 3-1, maybe 4 if they were a bit more clinical and decisive in the final third. But that was a horrific performance. Horrific performance from us. We all fell asleep as soon as we got the goal. That right-hand side was just spread open. They just ran through it for fun. Midfield is a joke. Attack is a joke. Even the defense is looking like a little bit of a joke. We're just saved by Cucurella, Silva, and Kepa. That was it. There's nothing else there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I think, there's been some bad away days. We've been up to Newcastle, we've been to Brighton. This one, obviously, we didn't lose, but the performance levels I felt was on a par with those performances in terms of, we've gone to a team that's 19th in the league. Yes, I know, these games are difficult away from home, atmosphere and whatnot. But we should be playing much better than that. The fact that Dean Henderson, all he did was pick the ball out of the net and did nothing else the whole game, that's unacceptable for Chelsea. I know that we're not good at the moment, and I know that there's a lot of improvement, but we're not so bad that we can't have a single touch in the Forest box for the whole second half.
You see them second half stats,
mate? No touches.
My God, they're 19th,
mate. We looked like we were 19th in that second half. We had terrible.
No shots on target, no chances created.
Mate, we didn't have a single no touches. Yeah, none.
All we did was just get turned on every single time. We get the ball, we'd lose it. They send it to the right. They run down that end because you just got the corpse of Azpilicueta and Koulibaly in there. Whipping a ball doesn't work out because their decision-making ain't great. That's why they're 19th. And it was rinse and repeat. We are lucky that wasn't a top 10 side. And then people want to talk to me about Man City. I know we're going to discuss that when that comes up, but boy,
I mean, there are a lot of things that were bad. But one thing that kind of concerned me, I don't want to say a lot, but it did concern me, is the form of Koulibaly. Now, I'm not expecting him to come in the summer and suddenly be unbelievable. But he's struggling a lot more than I thought he was going to struggle. He looked uneasy. He was getting hammered by, I forget the lad's name now, that was playing 9 for Forest. He ended up being, that's the one. He ended up being man of the match, but Koulibaly got battered by him every time. Every time that ball over the top went up to the forward, Koulibaly was beaten in the air each time. He was just getting done every time. And the thought of him up against Haaland on Thursday night is not even worth thinking about. But are you worried about Koulibaly? I know he's not been here long and he's still adapting, but I thought he would have made a better start to his Chelsea career than what he has done.
I'm in two minds over it. and I've had a bit more time to think about everything, and that was still Koulibaly's worst performance of the season. And initially, I was saying I want Koulibaly dropped for Chalobah, and if we bring in a right back, I still want the same energy. Chalobah's been our best centre back; he does not deserve to be sitting on the bench. But for me, the bigger issue was Azpi, and Koulibaly was trying to protect Azpi as much as he could in certain phases, especially the transitional ones, and it wasn't working. But because he was also so tight to Azpilicueta, there was more spaces opening up in the middle as a result of it. We are literally carrying a passenger in Azpi, and I love him, Chelsea legend, all of that. I'll give him all the praise. He's not that guy no more. And Koulibaly, it doesn't take away from his performance. Individually, he was very slow on the ball. His passing was sloppy, and he was turning over possession too much. Plus, Awoniyi just ran through him. Just ran right through him numerous times. Those 1v1 duels, he was struggling in. The only thing that I will give him is that he was paired with Azpilicueta on the right, and Azpi was even worse.
Yeah.
So, to me, if I'm looking at the next game in mind, you can bench Koulibaly for Chalobah, and I would understand that. But the bigger thing for me is Azpi. I would rather Chalobah come back into the lineup and play at right back. At least we would be a bit more defensively solid as a result. I don't care if he's not going to offer me anything going forward. You put Foden, Grealish, whoever you want on that left-hand side, it is going to be Bale v Maicon 2011 without the shock factor. I'm not here for it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at Azpi now, and I think it's the same as you, mate. And obviously, legend. He's been great for the club, won everything and whatnot. But the fact of the matter is now at Chelsea, he's not good enough to play for this football club anymore. The only time that I want to see Azpilicueta on the pitch is if he plays right side of a back three, because his performances, that's what he can offer now. He can't offer anything that's going to be helpful to us playing right back. And it goes back to last summer. And I don't want to kind of go back on things, but I think it's an important point that this offering of a new contract for Azpilicueta, whether it's for sentimental reasons, whatever it was for, or emotional decision-making, is costing the club, because by offering Azpilicueta a new contract, it meant that we did not go and buy a right back in the summer. And that has cost us big time, because now we're scrambling in January to try and bring a right back in that's going to be decent enough, whilst only having Azpilicueta available to play. We've got no one else that can play there. And so that decision making in the summer, and you can say, hindsight's great and that, but he should never have been offered a new contract. We've got to start making ruthless football decisions. And it should have started with Azpilicueta. He shouldn't have been offered a new deal. He should have left, and we should have brought in another right back that's, just under Reece James's level, or as close to Reece James's level as possible, so that when this situation occurs, we're not in the mud like we are at the moment. So I feel that decision to offer Azpilicueta a new contract has come back, and it's haunted us big time.
It has, and I will give them some leeway over it because of the situation that the club was in. I think we weren't going to make all the right decisions, and there was going to be some rash choices made, like the Azpilicueta decision for one. But this is more towards the old regime for me as well, because we've known we need better depth for Reece James for a while now, and that's before this summer as well. We have been very sloppy in that area for years. The last right back we signed was Zappacosta.
Yeah.
In 2017. Last midfielder we've signed was Kovacic. Like, we have just been very, very slow and lethargic in those sorts of moves. And I blame the old regime more than I blame the likes of Bowley. I'd blame Tuchel for that a bit more as well. If you wanted to keep Azpi as a number 2, that's on you. Midfield as well, on you. So I blame the old regime for that a little bit more. Azpi was fine to leave, but we're the ones that chose to keep him. So it is what it is.
Yeah, it is tricky, and it's easy to go back and say things, but I just think, the decision making, and that's obviously under the previous regime and whatnot. But we've got to move away, and we've got to start making better decisions in the market. Particularly, I think now we've got another situation where we've got 2 players that could potentially leave for free, and Jorginho and Kante. It probably is time to move on from both of those players, in my opinion. I think one of them will end up staying. It looks now kind of like it's swung round a bit, and it looks like that Jorginho now looks more likely to leave than Kante does. How do you feel about that? I mean, I personally look at it, and I think that Jorginho, the big plus on Jorginho for me is he's not as good a player as Kante, but he's actually available, and that's really important. So, but how do you feel about the fact that it looks like Jorginho is now more likely to leave than Kante is?
It's a very complicated situation with the pair of them, because it's similar in terms of the age of the player, the fact that they're both on the wrong side of 30. You can see a consistent decline in them, but one is more available, but both should be rotation options if we keep either of them. And that would probably help Kante be a lot more available. But Kante's asking for more money. He's asking for a higher contract length. He's asking to basically be treated like a starter when he's not going to be a starter. He should not be a starter, even with the ability that he possesses, or people who still think that he isn't in decline, even though we're like literally in 2023 and he's been on a decline for years, but whatever. I think if he was to take Jorginho's wage or something like that, or to take a massive pay cut, I am happy with N'Golo staying. My problem is the wage structure and what signing a declining 31-year-old midfielder for 3 years that isn't going to be at the same level in 1 year, let alone 3, what that's going to do for us in future negotiations. I know people are going to waffle in the comment section about, oh, it's not your money, it's not your decision, you shouldn't care. Cool. If we start N'Golo consistently when he's back, and we've given him that deal, and he gets another injury, and then he's out for another 3 or 4 months, I don't want to hear nothing. Because when it comes to Jorginho and Kante, both could leave and I would be fine. Both could stay as rotation options and I would be fine. But I trust Jorginho more to be fit. I can see Jorginho come on in winning positions and slow down possession and give us a bit more of a leverage in the last 15, 20 minutes of a game. N'Golo's style of play is very intense, and he doesn't know how to play anywhere else. All he knows is run at 100 miles an hour, break up play, and keep running. And when you have that sort of injury issues, it's not sustainable, not at that level. That's why, to me, if you ask me who I want to keep, it makes more sense to keep Jorginho. If we keep N'Golo, I am fine with it if he takes a pay cut, but whoever stays, they shouldn't be starting consistently from next season. Our new midfield needs to be completely revamped, and we need to start again. 3 new starters in that midfield. Maybe Kovacic. Maybe. But even he has his injury problems. The rest, no, we need to move on. We need to upgrade.
Yeah,
to me,
mate,
I'm seeing Enzo as the Kante upgrade, because he is the same type of ball winner, but he actually knows how to play passes as well. He's got an end product on him. He's got the odd finish in him every now and then as well. He can create chances. He can dictate play, as well as win the ball back consistently and be able to move around the pitch. So that's the replacement right there. If you want to keep Kante as depth for him, fine, but the wages have to go down.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, I look at it now, and it's like it's time to move on. It's time to phase out the old guard. Like, they shouldn't be. I've got no problem, like yourself, with either of those two staying, but it has to be on the premise that they're going to be a squad option and add depth to the squad, not to be starting every week. It should be Enzo when he arrives, with Kante to come in for cup games or to come on as a sub or whatever it is. And if we get Rice in the summer, Jorginho would be a good option to rotate with Rice throughout the season. But these guys shouldn't be starting on a regular basis. And we have to move away from that idea. And we've got to build a new midfield, as you said. But, I mean, looks like Enzo's going to come in. It's still not done yet. He's dragging on a little bit. But hopefully, it might be done in the next day or two. I think that'll be really important in whether he comes or not. It's a lot of money. Whether he's worth that or not is irrelevant almost. It's the release clause in the contract. If you want him, you've got to pay it. It's as simple as that. What are your thoughts on it? Obviously, it's a much needed upgrade to that midfield area, but I think it's important as fans that we don't heap a load of expectation on him, because the kid's 21. He's going to be coming to the Premier League, new league. He's going to be the most expensive Premier League signing ever, the 4th most expensive transfer in football ever. And there's going to be a lot of pressure on him. So how important is it when he does come in, which is looking like he will, that we're actually patient with him and give him a chance and don't expect the midfield to just transfer as soon as he steps onto the pitch?
Massively, because with the midfield we have, One midfielder doesn't change everything, doesn't transform everything for us. He could still easily get overrun in transition. He could still easily struggle because he has to adjust to a new league. And I'm fine with that. I'll give him time. I always do. I always keep saying that. But he will definitely get a lot of criticism if he doesn't hit the ground running from rival fans. I just think as Chelsea fans, we need to be patient and we need to let him be the first step towards a revitalized Chelsea side, because we don't stop from just Enzo. We need another midfielder after that. Could potentially need a third. We need right wing back depth. We need creators and playmakers in the middle. Debatably, we could need another forward. Might need another centre back if Silva goes. Might need another goalkeeper because Mendy's been terrible this season. So one signing doesn't change anything. We need about 8 or 9. I don't care how much money we've spent already. We need to spend more.
Yeah. No, we do. It is as simple as that. But I mean, on Enzo, how do you think it's a risk to pay that much money for one player? I know kind of we can't really do much about it because of the release clause in the contract, but I don't want to be negative about it because I think it's exciting and he's like, he's a really exciting player and he's got a high ceiling, very high potential. But I look at it and I can't help but feel when you look at big money signings at not just to the Premier League, but just big money signings at Chelsea in general. And very few of them, if any, have actually worked out. Lukaku, flop. Havertz, well, flop really, if I'm going to be honest about it. Werner, flop. We spend big money on players. Say Pulisic, flop. You could say Ziyech, flop. We spent big money on players.
Top 10 transfers, and I think Jorginho's our best one, and half our fan base hates him.
Yeah. Are you worried that there's a chance that, and this big money signing, and this could flop again? Because we were all, let's make no mistake about it, we were all excited about those players coming in. I've got no shame in saying I was excited for Lukaku to come. I was excited when Havertz came. There's that same excitement here. But do you think this can be different from those big money signings?
Yeah, because we're not making blind signings just because we see an opportunity. Enzo Fernandez is someone that's been scouted for a while. The new regime that's come in, the new technical directors really like the look of him. They've obviously gone through their data analysis. They think he's the perfect midfielder for us, and I see it as well. It's not a bit of a clueless one like a Lukaku or a Havertz where we just need a striker and we just put one in to fill the mold. This one is someone who transforms us, very well-rounded. I would be very surprised if he did fail, because I just can't see where it would come from. With Lukaku, you could make questions about his work rate and his touch and everything. Havertz, Bundesliga tax and all of that. And can't really say the same with Enzo because, I think he's that much well-rounded of a player. I think he's more intense. He can defend, he can attack. He's got everything that you need. I don't really see how it could not work. Obviously, we'll see how it happens, but I'd be surprised. If Enzo fails, then I'd just give up on signing anybody over 100 mil. I'm just done with it.
I mean, obviously, it looks like Enzo's going to come in. I mean, there should still be some more money available. It sounds ridiculous given 100+ million on Enzo. A right back has to come in. We cannot go through this window and not bring someone in. Problem is, mate, the options are pretty scarce at the moment. I'm not seeing that many names. I'm seeing Juranovic at Celtic and I'm seeing Gusto at Lyon. Other than
Apparently,
that,
you might not even go for one, which is just mind-blowing.
because I know the plan was to go for a right back in the summer, but obviously the Reece James injury has now accelerated that forward to January. But I kind of get it. I get it both ways. That you don't just want to sign a right back for the sake of it because you need one. You want to make sure you get the right player, and the right player might not be available to the summer. But then there's also a realization that we need someone now, and that if we do wait for the summer, then people cannot moan about we didn't sign a right back sort of thing. So. It's tricky. Do I want to get the right player? Yes. Do I want to wait till the summer? No. But you've got to find some sort of middle ground between the two. I don't know what we're going to do, but I don't think we can afford to do it to just go with Azpi, because otherwise we play Azpi every week, or we end up shifting Chalobah out to there, which might be a slightly better option, but both aren't great options. Do you think it's essential right back in January? We have to do it. Mate, you're muted.
Massively needed, because if we lose Reece James again, finished. Like, look, we're going into 2 Man City games with Azpi as our only right back option. Like, are we being serious about not going in for a right back in January? So we don't think one of the lower options would benefit the team compared to Azpi. I like Azpi as well. I don't want to talk about him like this, but you put him in the spotlight, it's gonna come out, because all you genuinely need is someone defensively solid or someone with legs, and then you can work around the rest. Because the problem with Azpi is that he has no legs. He's poor on the turn. You'll get caught out in transition easily. He's genuinely just too slow at this level anymore. You can get the odd game out of him here or there. He's not completely lost, but you can't start him consistently. So we need a number 2 that's going to be able to accommodate for that. Yeah, they're not going to be at Reece James's level. Whatever. I think Reece James is the best right back in the world. I don't think anyone's going to reach his level. Just find me someone who is either defensively solid or offensively solid, and we can work with all the other disadvantages and play our way around that. Because right now, we just have a training cone on the right, and people are just running through it.
Yeah, mate, we're in trouble there, but I think it does have to be addressed, because it's great, all right, bring Enzo in, fantastic, but that area of the pitch needs to be addressed big time as well. Let's move ahead to City Thursday night. First of 2 games. Yeah, first of 2 games against them in 3 days before we head to Manchester and play them in the Cup on Sunday. Erling Haaland's got 21 Premier League goals, more than us as a whole team. What do you think we can do to stop him? Because at the moment, it doesn't look like anyone's able to stop him.
Who, Haaland?
Haaland. How are we going to stop Haaland on Thursday? Because, if Koulibaly plays and he plays like he has been recently, that's going to be a mismatch. Yes, Silva's a fantastic defender. He's been really good for us this season. But, mate, that's going to be a tough battle up against Haaland. I mean, do you think we can do anything to stop him?
Best thing you could do is just boot him whenever you get the chance. That's it. You ain't going to stop him anywhere else. Maybe get into his head a little bit. I did see Godfrey and the Everton team manage to do that, but he had still already scored by then. I don't know. I don't know what you're going to do against Haaland. Like, I don't know what we're going to do on the right-hand side with the people feeding Haaland. The midfield's like, come on, our midfield. I don't rate whatever midfield 3 we put out. There's always a hole in there. And we're going to play against Man City's midfield. That'll be a laugh. The attack, nothing. They won't make any chances. Probably won't finish any chances.
I think we can get at them defense. I mean, I'd say defensively they're not weak, but it's really their weakest area. But then our attack's shit as well. So it kind of cancels each other out. How do you expect us to line up? Obviously, we saw Potter from the Bournemouth game make the one change, which was enforced with Azpi coming in for Reece James. I think there's got to be changes now from that Forest game because of how poor it was. What changes do you want to see? I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter saying that, Hakim Ziyech should perhaps get a chance. Maybe we should see more of the youngsters. We should perhaps see Chukwuemeka. We should maybe see Lewis Hall. I mean, actually, Kukurea had a decent game, so I don't necessarily think Hall to come in that left wing-back slot. But, Sterling was dreadful on the weekend. Pulisic was poor. I mean, he's not going to change the whole front line, but what players do you think deserve to come in and should come in? Do you think it's time for Hakim Ziyech from the off now?
Wasn't really the best barometer to judge him with that game. I guess he was good in the cup match, so maybe. Nothing fills me with a whole load of confidence though. Like, yeah, you could take Mount out and I don't know, put Ruben or something. That's not going to change anything. You could put Lewis Hall in there, but I don't know if Potter's going to do that. And I don't know if it's going to have any impact. As you know, Hall might give me a little bit more creativity. You could take Havertz out, put Ober in. Maybe we'll be a little bit better, but we have to create for Ober, and that's his own problem. Pulisic, I honestly thought he was our best forward, to be honest, but it doesn't say that much.
Yeah.
I don't really see him getting dropped. In defense, just Chalobah in for Azpi, and I guess we could cope if we sit back and absorb.
Do you think we stick with a 4? Do you think there's any part of Potter that might think actually maybe we should go with a 5 and just bring Chalobah in? No, don't go. We think we're done with a 5 now.
No, because that means Azpi right wing back, and yeesh.
Yeah,
right
true.
back is bad enough without him covering the whole wing. And no.
Do you actually think the 3's done now? Or do you think once Fofana comes back from injury, once Reece James gets fit again, we could be going back to it? Or do you actually think now, with Enzo arriving imminently, that we could be seeing a 4 for most of the rest of the season?
Probably a 4, because that's what Potter wants to play. And also, I don't think we got the midfield for it. I don't think we do. I used to have the idea that 3 was much better for us than 4 because it pushes Reece James a little bit further forward. But the midfield is just getting run through every time. And you need at least 2 midfielders in there to protect the likes of Jorginho. And even in transition, we're not doing that in a 3, so nothing works. But I'd rather us stick with what we want to stick with for the long term, and that's going to be a 4. So we might as well just do that.
Yeah, no, I would agree with that. I mean, where do you see what have we got to do different from, well, say from Forest, but really from what we've been doing all season to even attempt to get anywhere near getting some sort of result on Thursday night? Because I don't like to be negative, but from what I've seen, I cannot see how we lift our performance so much that we actually get minimum of a draw in this game. I just can't see where it comes from in such a short space of time. I mean, are you any more confident, any more upbeat about it, or do you just think if we get a point, we've done so well?
Facts. If we get a point, fair play, Chelsea. Fair play. For us, what do we have to do to win? Sit everybody behind the ball. Everybody. Try and hit them on transition. Other than that, I ain't got anything else for you lot. I don't know what you lot could do because we suck. I would just be real about it. It's Man City, and they've just dropped points. They're going to be vexed anyway. I'm expecting a 3-0 if we're lucky. I have zero confidence going for this game. I'm just here for the drinks and the catch-up, and that's it.
Mad thing is, mate, if Arsenal beat Newcastle and then we beat City, Arsenal 10 points clear at the top of the league. So, like, we beat City.
I can't even enjoy us beating City then. You have Arsenal fans like, hey, you helped us.
Yeah, mate, it is terrible.
You just know Obba's going to bag a hat-trick just with that.
Yeah, well, mate, I'd like to think so. 2 things. Score prediction to round out. What are you thinking? I've got to be honest, mate. I never want to predict Chelsea to lose, but I cannot see how we get anything. I think we probably lose this game 2-0.
Oh, you're better than me. I was just going to go for 3-0 and move. 3 goals in 20 minutes, and then they just sit back and just play possession ball.
Mate, there was one.
Guardiola will come out in the press conference and say he rates Potter a lot.
Yeah, that probably will happen. So yeah, not feeling too confident. A couple of losses predicted, mate. Before we round out, I just wanted to talk about one thing that's kind of broken just as we've been recording. That according to Jacob Steinberg in The Guardian, Chelsea will be meeting Shakhtar Donetsk this week. It'll be meeting Dario Serna in London to discuss the transfer of Mudryk. So, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, there might actually be some fire with that smoke. Mad. I thought it was just Mudryk's agents trying to push the Arsenal deal a bit further forward. No. If we snipe him, that'll be hilarious. Make a chant about it or something. I think it'll be a very good addition to us. Give us some more creativity. But I just don't think it's that realistic. He's shaking his ass for Arsenal the last 4 months.
But the fact we're meeting them, obviously they're in London, I think, to obviously meet with Arsenal as well. But Chelsea are also meeting them, which I don't know. I suppose it's kind of positive, but yeah, I still expect him to go to Arsenal. I'd love it if we pulled it off, but I still think he's going to go to Arsenal ultimately. But we've probably got more money to offer. Whether that makes a difference or not, I'm not really sure. But yeah, it would be a sweet one if we could pull that off, because Arsenal fans have been going mad over him. So if we could get that one over him, at least that would be something to cheer about compared to what's been happening on the pitch. But yeah, guys, seems like a good place to round out the episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you smash the likes on the video. Subscribe to Chelsea Fan TV. Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Make sure you also subscribe to Carefree Lewis G and subscribe to my channel, The Blues Brothers, both linked in the description. Hopefully it's more positive on Thursday night against City. But yeah, guys, all the best, and we'll catch you again in another episode soon.
Big up, big up.